Okay, Raju, and may I know your, hands-on experience on Pega so that we can plan for demo. Based on your expertise, we can select the demo topic.
Okay, Subha. Actually, I learned basics about Pega and I didn't work on it. I just gone through the basics and in the meantime, I've completed certifications actually.
Certification for Pega 6 or Pega 7?
6.3.
Oh,
And
6.
I think that is not valid now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pega retired all the Pega 6 certifications. And
Mhm.
now we need to go for Pega 7.
Yeah, I heard
So you
about
mean to say you do not have any hands-on experience on Pega, right? You
it.
completed the course and you completed the certification.
I didn't complete fully on it, but I had gone through some basics like creating an organization. Hello?
You mean to say, you didn't have any working experience, right?
Yes,
Hello?
Subha.
Okay.
Hello.
Uh, if you have a basic knowledge of Pega, then I can select the advanced topic like rule resolution as a demo topic. If you want to know any other topic, it's your wish. Generally, I prefer if anybody knows, basics of Pega and some knowledge on Pega, I will try to give demo on rule resolution, which is a very advanced topic.
Uh,
If you
okay.
are, if you want to take any other, topic, I'm also comfortable with that. It's not a problem. Before going to that, let me how we follow here. We will give you one demo session, and if you are satisfied, then you can go ahead with us. Otherwise, you can drop as it is.
Okay.
That is the process we follow here. That is why we, conducted this demo session, and it's up to you. In Pega 7, it's actually meant for a CSC certification, but if you go PD and CS certification, you can find some more advanced topics here. If you go through any PD and CS certification, they won't explain what is operator ID, what is rule set, rule set versions. We will explain them, but the course will be in between CSA and CSSA. We won't go at the level of CSSA, but we will cross the CSA level, and we will be stand at middle of the CSSA and CSA.
Okay.
That is how we designed the course. So you want to write the certification, or just for learning purpose you are attending the course?
First thing I want to learn about this, and definitely I want to do certification as well.
Okay, that's a good choice actually. But if you want to do certification, first you need to register in PDN for Pega 7. I hope you must know it.
Yeah.
So you need to do that one. So along with this, I will also give a demo application. It's not like just theoretical part. I will more concentrate on practical things. For each and every topic I am explaining here, I will demonstrate the things in the Pega 7.16 version.
Okay.
Whatever I am explaining here, once that is over, theoretical part is over, I will jump into real time. That demoing the scenarios.
Okay.
I will generally my approach will be more practical way rather than the theoretical part.
Okay.
And in the simultaneously we will complete this building application. This is part of the PDN, which is there in the PDN course. So we will complete that entire application end to end. By using case management features.
Okay.
We will create the HR application, and we will complete this HR application by end of the course. And we will complete all the topics which are there. Some topics are very advanced. Still, we want to give a brief description. A brief knowledge on that, because it may be useful in the interview and some other things. And after completing each session, you can ask your doubts. and that is the plan, Raju.
Okay, super.
Okay, then do you want me to start your topic, or if you have any topic to be discussed, then we will discuss that one.
Actually, I'm not understanding because the thing is, I know how to create an application and how to set up an organization, and up to in the what in the screen what I'm seeing, I can go up to creating users and portals.
It's not about only creating users and portals. I mean, yeah, we can. That is okay, but it's not come under. In Pega, the
Yes,
main disadvantage is
class structure, right?
everything is interrelated. You cannot. I mean, each topic is not individual topic. Every topic here is interrelated with so many topics. So if you take operator ID, before knowing operator ID, you should know access groups, applications, users, portals. I mean, that is why everything is interlinked here. So I will correlate each and everything.
Okay.
And
And I know about the abstract class and what is abstract class and how to create a concrete class,
okay.
and what and Whirlpool also I can create, but I'm not sure whether I will do perfectly or not because I didn't have any
Yeah.
hands-on
I mean, we can
experience.
create, but we should know what is the use case of that one. Use case is
Yeah.
important. I mean, knowing the topic, we can go through PDN, or we can go through any blogs. We can get to know what is there. But use case, I mean, where exactly we will use those topics in real-time scenarios. That is important.
Yeah.
So we will cover real-time examples as well. How it is important each and every topic in real time. I mean, for demo session, if you want to, if you have any, I mean, do you want me to discuss your topic, or you are okay with my topic, rule resolution?
You go with your topic, Subha.
Yeah, and I will give two options. One is your interest and one is my interest. So if you have, some people want to know some advanced topics like activities directly. So in that case also I will directly discuss that one. It's not a problem.
As it is a demo, I want to know about how harness is created and how it can be used in the flowchart.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean to say we can do validation part, right? What has to be the next part? If this one is done, if the first flow is okay, then the next one, how it has to be routed or like that.
Okay, we will discuss your doubts first, then we will go into the demo session. You are asking about, correct me if I am wrong, you are asking about how we can create organization, where you can use that one, and how we can refer the flows. That's what you are asking?
Yes.
Okay. Flows are nothing but we can say is a business process. It may be a business process, maybe a single assignment. We have different types of process, but for this demo I will limit to a single assignment.
Okay.
I will show you live. I mean, in organization we have three types of divisions. Like first is organization level, next is division, next is unit. Okay, why we create? Why we make a distinguish is, let us take a ICICI Bank example. In ICICI, if you take ICICI as an organization, it is an organization, right? So in organization, ICICI organization, we have a number of divisions. Divisions means distinct functionalities of the organization. I mean, ICICI handles loans, ICICI handles accounts, ICICI handles mutual funds, ICICI handles some other stuff. There are a lot of stuff which will be handled by ICICI. So, I mean, but the organization is same, but the divisions are different. Okay,
Yes.
so here the ICICI will be the organization name, and the accounts, loans, those names will be the divisions. Within the divisions, again we have a number of units. Let us take as loans. In the loans, we have number of loans will be there. I mean, personal loans will be there, credit card loans will be there, vehicle loans will be there, home loans will be there. I mean, those common units. I mean, why we want to create such a structure is for the reusability purpose. I mean, in Pega, everything is a rule based. Rule is nothing but whatever you create in Pega, we call it as a rule. It follows a business. It follows a business requirement. Whatever the business says, we will implement that as a rule. Whatever you are talking, flows or organizations, units, anything in the Pega, we call as a rule. So, in order to increase the reusability of the rules, we will distinguish between organization, division, unit. Whichever common for organization, for entire organization, will be put into organization level. I will show you how we can put them in the application, and whichever is common for division, those will be put into division level. Whichever is common for unit, those will be put into unit level. Let us take example of a logo, ICICI logo. This logo will be common for across organization. Even it is loans or credit cards or accounts or anything, the logo will be same. Like logo, we have some other rules like customer information. Customer information is common across all the divisions, so we can keep customer information at organization level. Like that, whichever is common across organizations, we can keep that at organization level. I mean, whichever is common at division level, so division can reuse the organization level rules, so that we can, instead of creating new rules again, we can reuse it so that the redundancy will be reduced. It is same with the unit as well. I mean, if you want to, if you take it say accounts as a division, in accounts we have for your account we have some certain features like start date, end date, some other information will be there. So that information will be common across the units. Units will be here like personal loans, home loans, and each unit has their own distinct features. For that purpose, we have those distinction: organization, division, unit. If you want to see what are the organizations here, organization chart. Here we have number of organizations here. I created a demo. We have number of organizations here. Let us take ICICI here. Here ICICI is a organization name. In that we have divisions, loans. In that we have personal loans as a unit. So you can see the structure of the organization by going through organization chart. Okay. If you want to create new organization, you can directly go to records, or there are two ways, like one way is directly clicking here. Here we do not have any create option. We can save as if you have any already existing rules. Otherwise you can go to organizations, go to organization records. Here you will be getting create option. Here we can give the organization name and it follows the same structure. But in general, in real time, we do not create organizations once we create the application. While creating application itself, I will show you that one, just a demo purpose. I don't give much. I'm creating a new application. While creating new application itself, it will ask for all the details. Here you can see organization name, right? So whatever you give here, that will be automatically created. Okay, so while creating application itself, we will create organization names in general, but I mean there is also an advantage. After creating application, we can also create organizations like this. This is how we can create organizations. And if you go to configure advanced settings, you can configure the divisions, units, everything here. Okay, I will explain when we actually go to while creating the application. That is about organizations and all those things, divisions and units. If you have any doubts on that, you can ask me now on organization topic.
It is clear, Subha.
Yeah, and if you let me go through flows, whatever you asked, right? Let me take any flow here. I'm taking the already existing flows for explaining you. In Pega 7, we have a feature like case management. Why we are going to case management is, even business users who do not have a minimum knowledge of who do not have technical knowledge also create the application. Without knowing anything about Pega, without knowing anything about the, with a minimum knowledge of business, we can create the application. That is the beauty of the Pega. Without knowing any technical knowledge, we can create the application and we can run that actually. We can run that and we can demonstrate that to the client, how the flow will run during runtime. But later, once the client is happy with that flow, then we can actually work on the data. Data means whatever they are going to, whatever they are expecting on the UI, we will create that data. I mean, creating data is not a problem, but creating the application within 10 to 15 minutes and demonstrating that to the client on the spot is a power of the case management in the Pega. So if you this flow becomes a, if you have knowledge on case management, little knowledge, there are certain terminology will be there, stages and steps. The steps represent a individual task to be completed. So steps is nothing but internally for system is a flow. Business users call it as a step, but for the developers internally it automatically creates the flow without, business user does not know that flow is created while creating the application. I will show you that one. Here we have created a case, candidate case. This is the case. This is the HR one of the SR applications. So these will be called primary stages. Each and everything we are showing here is a step. Whatever we call it here is a step, right? But internally this is a flow for the developers. But the business user doesn't bother about how flows or how it is configured. Business user just create the look and feel like this and they will run it directly. We don't have we don't have any data, we don't have anything, but it will run perfectly. In this case already we configured some data, so you will get some data here, but I will show you that one as well. Well, first when you create it, you don't get any data, but the application will be running with no UI. But you can traverse back and forth using the navigation keys like next and back, next button and submit button. So whatever you are creating as a step here, that is internally is a flow, right? So in flows we have two types of flows again. I will discuss in detail when we go to that one. I am giving two types of flows, like flow standard, screen flows. Screen flows are nothing but let us assume if you are applying recently if you file a tax tax returns, it will ask for each information. First application information, then bank information, then tax information. So in each, all the information will not be collected in a single screen. There will be number of tabs for collecting the different information. So in that case, if the applicant is single but the information is more, instead of scrolling longer, so we can divide that UI into multiple parts and we can navigate back and forth using the screen flows. That is the benefit of the screen flow. Like we can reduce the number of scrollings. So nowadays people are that increases the user experience. User feels happy when there is less number of clicks and less number of scrollings. I mean, we're designing the application, we should keep those points in mind. We should not, we should try to reduce the clicks, should try to reduce the scrolling. In order to reduce that one, we will go for screen flows. But here it is a standard flow. The benefit of the standard flow is here this shape, this is start shape, this is end shape, this shape is called assignment shape. As the name indicates, assignment, generally people in school days we will call it assignment. Assignment means we are giving some work to the person. It is the same thing. So system is expecting some input to complete the work. That is why we are calling it as the assignment. So assignment shape expects human intervention to give some input to proceed further. So in order to give some input, I need to define the action. I need to define the UI, right? So when there is a UI, then only I can give the input. So if you open properties here, here also we can routing concept will be there. Why we route is, let us take a example of leave application or any normal leave application. So when you apply a leave, let us assume this is a leave flow. Let us assume we are applying a leave on the UI side. Now it should go to manager for the approval, right? So whenever the manager approves that leave request, then only your leave is entitled. So in that case, we need to route the flow. So if you want to route it, we have route to, in the first layout, we have routing is there. Right now we are routing to current operator. Here the operator concept again comes into picture. Whoever logs into the system, PRP system, is called as a operator. Generally, in general terms, we can call it as a user. Operator has operator ID. We call it username and password. With that username and password, he can log in. So while login itself, if you have, that is advanced topic again, but I am going to somewhat depth. When you log in, the system determines which application you have access. Access group, in that case, access group come into picture. Access group determines which application an user can access. Let us assume I have a number of applications. I created a number of applications. If you see here I don't have any applications. If you create one more application, that means if you create one more application, that means I have two applications for the administrator operator. So administrator can access two applications, but at a time when the administrator logins, the system should determine which application should to open, right? So in order to determine that one, I will go to that again. So that is routing concept. If you want to display UI, you need to go for flow action. Flow action contains section. Section actually contains the actual UI. This is where we actually display the UI. But actual actions, whatever the actions you want to perform on the UI, you need to do that one in the flow action. Like we have a number of actions. Before loading the UI, if you want to perform any action, you can do that one. After entering the data, if you want to perform action, you can do that one. If you want to do the validations, like we have a lot of validations. Mandatory fields will be there. Some user-defined validations. Generally, if there is an email box, email has certain pattern. If you want to validate that one, that is also there. The type of validation you can do in the flow actions, all those things. That is about flows, general flows. As we got topic about operators, if we go to operator, the access group determines which applications to open. I have only one application, right? I can create one more application, but right now I do not have any applications now, so I do not get it. But you can, by default, PRPC will be there. You can access it. So, at a time, an user can select only one access group. So, because of that one, we are using radio buttons here. So, whichever access group is selected, that application is displayed when you log in. So we have plus symbol, we can add number of applications. When you select that one, only that application will be open. This access group defines the application. This is the application name. Every access group has a application, access group internally defines the application. Which application is valid for the access group. Access group defines the application. Operator is determined by the access group. Which application to open. That is about operators briefly. There are a lot of other stuff in the operators. I will discuss, actually go into the topic. That is about brief discussion about flows. We have we can do a lot of things in flows. We have we can send a message. You can send a mail to the user. You can we can run multiple flows at a time. We have a lot of shapes here. Smart shapes, advanced shapes. This is very advanced topics, but I will give you overview of each and everything where we can actually use this one. Advanced topics is somewhat very advanced. Whichever is most recently used, I will explain that one. But if you want to go with CSSA level course, then I will explain each and everything in that course. That is about brief description about flows, Raju. If you have any doubts in this, you can ask now.
It's clear right now, but when you are saying about previous thing, how to start this and everything, I'm going blank, Subha, to be frank. I need this course to, I have to go undergo the training from starting itself.
Yeah. So in that case, you need to go each and every, from the application you need to go again.
Yeah.
Okay, then this is the demo. Small type demo. I think you cannot understand this rule resolution concept. This is more advanced, very advanced topic actually.
Mm-hmm.
Rule is generally, most of the developers do not know what is rule resolution because it's not a topic, but PRPC follows that is a what we call a process PRPC uses to determine the exact rule. Because we are sometimes we override the rules, sometimes we withdraw the rules, sometimes we we will block the rules, and we will maintain number of versions. We will maintain number of. We have two types of inheritance: pattern and directed. The same rule may appear in the pattern and it may appear in the directed inheritance. In those cases, how system determines which rule is apt for that scenario. So that is the concept of rule resolution. We have, internally system follows that one. There is a 10-step process for each and every rule you are executing. If you see here, when you run it, internally lot of rules will be executed, lot of process will be executed. This rule resolution is an internal process PRPC uses to determine the most appropriate rule to execute. Whatever you are seeing here, right? So everything is a rule here, but how system determines that rule is apt for this context. That describes the rule resolution. I think that is very advanced. If you want to go any other topic, I will, if you have any doubts also, I can go through that one. I will explain that one. If you have any doubts in the course as well, in the course content, you can ask, not a problem. This is the course we follow. What I suggest is first register in PDN for Pega 7. As we are giving demo, right? I cannot go on creating each and every demo. Whichever is critical, I will show you on the fly, and whichever is easy for you, I will give it as a exercise for you. I think you can, so that you can easily learn, and moreover you can get some doubts during doing some exercises, and you can ask doubts as well. If I am going explaining and it makes no sense actually. And moreover, when you listen to PRPC topics, it seems like very easy, but when you actually work on that, you make it, you feel difficulty. Why? Because everything is interlinked here. There is no individual topic which actually works independently. Everything, whatever you say, any rule, that is interlinked with some other rules. So if you want to understand a single rule, you should also understand the dependent rules as well. So that's where the difficulty comes into picture. That is why we need to practice it. Once you listen to the topics, you need to practice that one. I will show you the demo, and you also need to practice the same thing. And so you will get some doubts, and I will discuss the same thing. I follow the same thing. I will recommend the same thing. That is about sample demo. Raju, if you want any other topics to know, then we will discuss.
I think I need to start from the scratch itself.
Yeah, you need to start definitely, because for saying creating operator ID, just creating operator ID application or users and results, it doesn't make, it's not useful generally, just creating that one. But
Right.
we need to refer that one somewhere else. We need to interlink each and everything. We need to interlink operator and application. We need to interlink application and rule set. We need to interlink rule set and versions. You need to interlink users portals with all these rules. That is, interlinking concept will be required. Generally, we will go like this. Here once I explain this one, I will create an application.
Okay.
Okay, and that application will be the same thing, HR application, and go on. Whatever the topic I am explaining here, I will demonstrate on the application.
Okay.
So that you can easily correlate how it will be in the real time.
Okay. So, generally, to start from scratch, how much time it will take? Like, in how many days you can cover it?
Generally, if you go daily 1 hour, it will take 30 to 45 hours, 30 to 40 hours at least.
Okay.
Daily 1 hour. If you just we discussed very little now. It already took 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Very little actually. We can discuss each rule here, whatever I am displaying here. We can discuss one and a half hour, more than 1.5 hour each rule. But we try to minimize that one. Otherwise, people will get confused, and the course also will not be completed. This course is meant for CSA level. Even if I explain CSSA or LSA level, it's like a confusing part for them.
Okay.
As I said, I will go beyond the CSA, but below the CSSA course.
Okay. Do you have anything like to differentiate about the CSA and CSSA?
No differentiation. Whatever, if you open any rule here, right? So let us say, if I am explaining CSA course, let us say, I will explain only this part, right? We have a number of tabs here. Security. Security is very advanced topic. Why we need security work? In the you can see number of configurations here, right? Each configuration actually affects the system functionality. How it affects that will be explained in each based on the course level.
Okay.
As a developer, I don't bother about security, because security is a very advanced topic. So only LSS, lead system architects, will bother about that one.
Okay.
That is how we distinguish actually. But I will give brief whichever is most commonly used, I will explain that one, not each and everything. As I said, I will go beyond the CSA but below the CSSA level. Like this, in each and every role, even if you open flow action here, you can see number of tabs. On each tab, you can see number of options again. Each option here is have some impact on the system or application. So for CSA level, we will only certain options are useful. Other are some more advanced topics, but I will just explain. But I cannot demo that one. I will explain each and everything which is more commonly used, but I cannot demo each and every component here. That is how we can distinguish. There is no separate distinction actually, because same rule. Rules will be common for CSA, CSSA, LSA. The rules will be common, everything is common. No other rules will be available other than this, whatever you can see here in the system. Only those rules will be available, but the depth of knowledge will be differ. And you can see lot of integrations. You can see this is the, we call it a rule category. In each category we have a number of rules. Rule type, we call it rule types. So in CSA level, we don't bother about these connects sequence, most of the connects and service levels. But I will give, I mean, in CSA also I will give one demo for connectors, one demo for services. For everything I will give one demo.
Okay.
How we can use in real time. If you see in services, we have a number of services. Even I do not have a chance to work on this, all the services. That is how we can differentiate. But the rules will be common across any if you are doing CSA or CSSA or LSA, rules will be common, but the depth will be different. And do you have any other doubts we can discuss, Raju?
No, Subha, right now I think I'm very back in this.
Yeah, and moreover it is completely different than Pega 6. Pega 6 mostly dependent on activities. That is why most of the people ask me to explain activities. But in Pega 7 recommends, I mean if you are working on a high, I mean a good company, Pega 7 doesn't recommend to write activities. We have a lot of other options which do the same functionality as activities. Activities are difficult to maintain in Pega 7. That is why Pega 7 doesn't recommend to write activities. Still, at some places we need activities. I will explain where we exactly need activities. But 70% we can reduce the writing the activities. We can achieve the same functionality by using some other rules which were introduced in Pega 7. But people people already have knowledge on Pega 6 and activities. In Pega 7 also they are going on writing activities. That is where complexity will be there. That is some people claim that even migrating to Pega 7, I do not see any performance because of that one activities. We need to, activities takes a lot of time for execution. So in order to increase the performance, we need to minimize the activities as well. Like that, there are a lot of things in Pega 7 comparing with Pega 6 versions. And the look and feel will be also different. Pega 6 is some like a very old UI, but if you see, it is very new UI,
Yeah,
and the look and
very different.
Lot of different. And the beauty of this Pega 7 is once you develop the application in desktop, the same application will work in tabs, tablets, mobiles, any device. No need to do any configurations. Directly it will work. Just we need to do some little configurations, like based on operating systems. We have Android and iOS, right? So we need to do some configurations for that. And you can also put this application into what we call Google Drive. What we call that one? Not Google Drive. We use for Android we will use Play Store. Yes, we can also put the application in Play Store without doing any other configurations, any other coding. That is beauty of the Pega 7. Nowadays, most of the people are using tablets and mobiles, right, for accessing any applications. But if you want to spend more money again for mobile version, again for tablet version, it's extra money for the business. So the same whatever is working for desktop, the same functionality should work for mobiles and should work for tablets. That is how it is configured. Even if you see you can see the power now itself. If you want to see how generally for tablets and mobiles, the resolution will differ, right? If you want to see, I'm reading the resolution. See here, this is the tablet view. automatically it is converting to tablet view. This is converted into options. Again, still I am going to somewhat more. This is mobile view, right?
Yeah.
This is mobile view. See, everything is modified according to mobile. And if you go to desktop application, you get these labels. But if you go to mobile level, you will get only symbols. I mean, like that, we can configure each and everything to mobile compatibility directly. That is about a brief introduction and a demo top. If you have any other doubts, you can ask you. Sorry, actually I am suffering from sore throat.
Yeah, you said it. And Subha, I'm okay with your training. Like I want to continue with your training itself. But thing is, I need to start from scratch. So
Yeah, from the
you
scratch
okay
only.
with that?
Whatever you are saying here, by end of the course, you will be able to understand, at least correlate. I cannot say. I mean, I cannot drum my own trumpet. But what I say is, by end of the course, at least you can correlate the rules between them. When you actually open any Pegasus application, at least you can memorize how we can correlate different rules. But when you, I mean, if you work simultaneously, I mean, as we go on in the course, you will, by the end of the course, you will be in a better position. But if you don't practice, definitely it won't help. That is for sure.
Okay. Like in Pega PRPC 6 version, 6.3 version, I practiced something like I have created an organization. I have created classes for the organization, and I have created a workflow from where that can be routed out.
Okay.
And I have created a flow to run that application. Like
Okay.
if you are completing with that task, and I have created the layout. And
I mean, do you have that with your right now? Do you have that one with your in your system?
yeah, I have
Can you share the screen
just.
so that I can directly?
I didn't open it. I will open it and I will show it.
Yeah.
What I said was while using internet, you should not open the PRPC6 version. That's why I didn't ask you to, like, I didn't want to show.
I mean, PRPC, why in?
I don't know. They might get an. Don't know. The trainer from where I got this demo version. They said that if you are using PRPC, don't use the internet. They said.
I mean, without.
It might be.
It's not like that. Like that.
Okay.
Nothing happens because I mean you are using a personal edition, right? Not a actual product, right?
Yes, personal edition.
Nothing happens. People, even I am also showing, right, the same thing. Whatever you see here is a application.
Yeah.
I mean, it's up to you, not a problem, but
no, I want to show because then only you can correlate with me, right?
Yeah, yeah. Even I'm giving support to a real-time projects actually. They will directly show me the product. Wow, I'm the what we call yeah, live server will be there, right? What we call production server will be there, right? They will show you and we will fix the issues there itself. I will generally I prefer giving support for actual real-time projects.
Okay.
It's not like that. You can use. I mean.
Screen share. Okay, I'm looking up for the screen share. Where I can find
I mean, if you are using this application, I mean this GoToMeetings, you can see that one.
More options. Switch to this. So using camera.
Ashok, are you there? Ashok? I think he's not there.
Okay. I think I'm able to see there.
I think you cannot show. I think Ashok is the organizer, right? So he should give permissions to share your screen.
Okay. Do you want me to call him? So that I can show it. You can also tell where I am.
Yeah, you can. Okay, well, right now you can share your screen. You are sharing something.
Yeah, I
Yes, Subha. Give me a minute.
Ashok, can you?
Generally, I just want to give overview what I did. So if you are okay.
I mean, who gave this
In the
user
meantime,
and
by the
password?
time I have created it.
Okay then.
I have created an organization named Raj Train.
Okay,
And,
right.
From that, I went into system architect and started creating an application.
Yep, fine. Up to that level, it's
I have
fine.
created the okay, and then after the I have created a work pool
Okay.
from where
Then-
that work should be routed and everything.
Even if you don't create a work pool, by default, system will accept the default thing. Your application will work with the default thing, default work pool. Work pool is nothing but just like that is useful for structuring purpose. I mean, if a manager want to know who is actually working under him, by seeing the work pool, we can get to know who are reporting to manager. That is for just for reporting structure, work pool.
Okay.
Nothing else will be there.
Okay.
For
And
every
after
work pool,
that,
manager we need to give the manager name. I mean, in the operator rule, we define the manager so that all who are all reporting the same manager will come into same work pool. That is how it configured.
Okay.
There is no other use. I mean, for that.
I have created properties and how the properties can be used in the section and how that should be assigned to the particular field in the layout.
Yeah.
I have done that. Up to that, I'm okay. Up to creating sections and layouts and creating properties.
But it is taking a very long time for loading, right?
Yeah, it's taking too much time.
I mean, what's your internet connection speed?
Don't know, but I came recently in this place, so I don't know much about it.
Okay.
I just moved to a new place. See, these are the things which I have created. Subbu.
Okay. Application
Data model.
definitions, admin, user interface,
Cross.
yep. Fine. I think there is a lot of difference in the UI.
Yeah, these are the properties which I have created, and I can use this further, right? It's a reusable thing.
Okay. Perfect.
I can go up to here, Subbu. in this
Okay.
6.3 version. I can
Okay.
go up to here.
Creating properties. And where did you go to that online booking flow? Here online is, let me, I mean, give me some clarification. Here online is the application name.
Yeah, online is the application.
Okay. In that you created online booking, a flow, one single flow. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And go to the online booking. So you are manually creating all these things, right? So
Yes.
that is one way, right? So if you want to create an application, if you want to manually create, you need to create application name, you need to create properties, process. You need to manually create each and everything, whatever you are seeing in this structure. But if you use case management features, these will be automatically created by the system. Just you need to provide some inputs on the UI side.
Okay.
That is the benefit. I mean, that is a reverse engineering. We give the input, system will create the rules for us. This is a forward engineering. You create the rules manually and you are referring the rules in the application.
Okay.
I mean, we can do the both things, but the flexibility will be more in the creating the case and then automatically system take care of creating the rules. But we should also know this thing as well. Creating the rules in the App Explorer, we call it the App Explorer. I mean, this is a structure, tree-like structure, right? So we can do that one. Okay, right. Here you are using assignment shape, that's fine. But how can you reject and approve? There should be one decision table, right?
So I've just like assigned something.
Okay, it's not. I mean, what happens here is this is a what we call assignment shape. So it expects human intervention. Here we have two connectors.
Two connectors.
One is reject, one is approve. So I mean, system should determine which path it should take. Whether it can go to this path, it can go to this path. If you have generally this type of decisions will be taken based on some other parameters. But if you don't have any parameters, what you can do is keep a likelihood. There is a here there is a symbol, right? Percentage symbol.
Likelihood 50% and 70 something. I think that
in that case,
20%.
In that case, if you run the case, what happens is likelihood is nothing but probability. Okay. Internally, system how it behaves is it will create 100 brackets. Okay. The likelihood, the total likelihood should be 100%, right? Internally, the execution will be like this. System create 100 buckets. Okay. When you run the flow, randomly it will generate one bucket, one number, right? Randomly it will generate one number.
Yeah.
So you said one is 35, one is 30, one is 70, right? So system will divide 1 to 30 is 30%, and 30 to 70 is 30 to 70 is some other buckets. Okay. System randomly generates some numbers between 0 to 100. So whatever the number is generating, it will comparing with the bucket numbers. We have 100 buckets, it will compare with bucket number. So wherever the number meets, it will go that path. So we cannot predict the path. So in that case, we should use this likelihood. In some scenarios where we let us say, I will give a real-time example where this is not a. Pega does not keep this likelihood just for keeping this one. In real time also, let us assume in a very big organization, auditing is very must.
Yeah.
But auditing is not required for each and every transaction. But whatever the transactions we are doing, at least 5% is required auditing. And I am saying 5%, that means sorry, the remaining 95% I can skip right auditing.
Yes.
So in that case, I can keep 5% to auditing flow, and I can directly end the flow for remaining 95%. So I can keep 5% for auditing flow, auditing connection. For remaining 90%, I can go directly to the end path. So that system will determine. So we don't bother about, I mean, business don't bother about which 5%. Out of 100 transactions, I need only 5% to be audited.
Okay.
In those scenarios, I mean, there is valid scenario, use cases will be there for likelihood. Sometimes we will get some options. I mean, we don't bother about exact numbers, but this wherever we need probability. In that case, in those scenarios, we should go for likelihood. Otherwise, we should not go. In this scenario, we should not go likelihood, but for testing purpose, you can create likelihood. When you run this, it will either go to reject, it will either go to approve, but we cannot determine because system internally generates some number between 0 to 100. Whichever buckets it will go to, that path it will take.
Okay.
That is likelihood concept. So if you are facing any issues in this?
Like till here I can go, and what I have to do next I don't know.
Okay, here what you can do is, let us assume this is a entire flow. I mean, flow means we should not keep all the shapes in the single flow. I mean,
Okay.
if the flow, here you can see, I can see nearly 3, 7, 10 shape, 3, 4, 7 shapes, right? If it is increasing more than 7 shapes, more than 16 shapes, you need to create subflows. Subflow is also a flow, but you can create a separate flow and you can call that flow here so that the maintenance will be easier. If I have 100 shapes here, I cannot, I don't know which path is going, right? So you can create in that case. So if you want to run this flow, if you want to run this, what you need to do is, you do not have case types, right? Go to this, 1 second. You have any options like this? Actions button are there? Actions or options, anything? Open this this arrow mark here. Top top right arrow mark is there, right? Or else directly you have this run symbol. Click run here.
Yeah, run. Okay.
Yeah. That is one way of debugging the application. Click run.
I did.
Okay, I think it's not loading for me.
No, it's still reading. Like it's not open. Here we are. Can you view it?
No, it's still opening for me.
Okay.
Yeah. This is called a new harness. Why we are getting new harness is, for creating any case, we need at least one work party. So here already we have one work party is there. Just create. Just click create. This is called a new harness. I will explain what is new harness.
Okay.
Just create it. After that, you will get actual flow.
Excellent. Yeah.
This is the actual flow. Approve this section. Notes are there. This is the section you created, right?
Yes.
Approve this. Submit. Click submit. It will go to next shape. Whatever shape is there in that flow, it will go to that shape. I am still seeing approve.
I didn't give the the likelihood, Subha, in that.
You did not give likelihood.
Yeah, I think it's 100% only.
That's why it's going in that direction. If it is 100%, so all buckets will be in that connector only, right?
Yeah.
So every time the same flow will be executed.
Okay. This is how I created, and this is what I know. Till here I can do.
This is very basics. Can you open this system architect here? This there is application, right? There is arrow mark beside the application. RAS train app 010101.
Yeah.
Click that arrow mark. Here RAS train app 010101 is there, right? Beside the Pega logo. Click that arrow mark. Oh, not that one.
It's showing switch application, new application, switch workflow.
Open that one. Let me see. I cannot see your screen. Yeah. Switch application, new application, switch workable, right?
Yeah.
Switch application means if you have any application, you can switch that one. Along with this, we should get portals as well. You are not getting portals screen. Click this one, purples. A lot of difference. Okay. Click switch workpools.
Okay. Only one thing, arch tray.
I think there is only one thing, right? Okay, no need.
Okay,
can you open?
Can
you go to Records Explorer once?
Which one?
Records Explorer. Yeah, right now you opened Application Explorer, right?
Yeah.
Go to Records Explorer. Okay. Click outside outside that menu bar. You will get here down arrow, that arrow mark. Application Explorer. Here you can see. 1 second. Go to process and rules once. Process and rules.
In this?
Okay. Go to case management. The case management is there in 6.3 as well, I think. You need to learn from case management.
Okay. I didn't know about this option.
Okay. Case designer. When you create the application, right? I'm creating the application doesn't make any sense, but if you want to run the case, if you want to run the application, at least there should be one portal. Did you create any portals? In your sample, I think you did not create.
Yeah.
You just created, but you did not refer them in anywhere. That is the problem.
Might be Subha. I know up to this only. I don't know how
Yeah,
to
not a
refer
problem.
and
Can you click this plus symbol in application definition? The symbol is the right application definition. I think is it the problem with your system or is it the problem with internet connection? It's taking a lot of time actually.
in my screen I can view it, Subha.
Okay, I think it is the problem with internet connection. That is why it's taking a lot of time to load. Here you can see add case types, right? So whatever you created here, you can refer them in the case types. You need to create the case type rule. In the case type rule, you need to mention the flow. Whatever you created one flow, right? Online booking, some flow is there, right? You need to refer that flow as a starting process. Then when you run the case, the flow will be executed automatically. That is one way. So, but in your application, this is online. You're trying to do some online application, right?
Yes.
So this kind of use cases, case type is not required. This type of case we need portals. In the portals, we have left navigation will be there, and we have a number of options. Booking, a number of options will be there.
Yeah, I've created a portal like that. In the other application.
Okay. Once you create the portal, you need to refer the same whatever you are referring, whatever you created roles here. You can refer the sections. You can refer the. I mean, flows will not be there basically in portals. You can refer, harness will be plays more important role in portals, and navigation role will be there. I mean, like in this, we call it whatever you are seeing in your desktop, right? That is called a Designer Studio.
Design. Okay.
Yeah, this is the Designer Studio. In Designer Studio, you can see some structure is there, right? So this is the navigation. Wherever your mouse is there, that is the navigation. So like that, you can create your navigation for portal. I mean, booking the ticket, canceling. There will be number of options.
Yes.
The navigation may be like this. You can keep like tabbed structure. You can keep anything. That is how we. That is how the business wants. Whether they want to left navigation, whether they want to tabbed structure. Based on that, we can create. I got your point, Raju. That's fine.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, Raju.
So, now you understand?
Yeah.
Now you understand.
I think you better start working on Pega 7 rather than Pega 6 so that it will be easy for you.
Okay, Subha. I have to get that. I need to talk with Ashok.
Okay.
Then from tomorrow we are going to start from scratch. Or,
yeah. Discuss with Ashok and he will schedule the meetings. We will join that meeting.
Okay, Subha.
Okay. Thank you, Ravi. Thank you, Ashok.
Thank you, Subha.
Yep. Bye.